Everyone, and welcome to This Week in Hospitality Marketing, show number 465 from Paris, France. Again, last leg of our journey over here in Europe for 3 months, and we'll be heading out shortly. And so this will be our last broadcast from over here. I'll be a little bit briefer than our normal shows, only because we're in a common area space. As beautiful as it is behind me, it is a common area courtyard, and I'd hate to go and get distractions beyond my conversations. So with that, I would like to talk a little bit about more and more of the conversations that are coming up from business conversations. As always, our weekly show reflects current things that are going on, current conversations with clients, current conversations at conferences, fellow professionals, and so forth and so on. And out of that process, as we talked about 3 weeks ago, we talked about the shifting tides. Becomes the economy, a K-formated economy. Those that have money are really not changing what they're doing. Those that are in the middle class, however, being very squeezed. They don't have enough money to maintain the standard of living that they're doing. They're taking out microloans. We had this discussion about how they're economizing what they're doing. Some are refusing to downscale their costs for what they do, primarily for our particular interest, transient travel. But most people are realizing that they have to somehow contain what they want to do into the finances of how much they have to be able to do it with. We've talked about travel costs. We've talked about the 4 basic fundamental aspects of travel cost. You have your transportation costs, your accommodations costs, your entertainment costs, and your food costs. All of those 4 have to fit into the budgeted amount of whatever the person or family is traveling with over the duration of time that they're wishing to travel. By the way, happy July 4th for everybody in the United States. This whole holiday weekend will be a lot of fun for everyone, I'm sure. Sorry, the side note. So the idea of how this financially fits into what people do, people are faced with 2 choices. One is that they have to microloan or loan themselves or put themselves into a debt to spend the money for what they want to do because we're keeping our prices at a certain height, or that they just reduce down what they can do for vacations and transient travel. So that brings us to our topic today. Topic today is about shifting strategies for a shifting market. We see in the news persistently, economies is doing fine. The economy is doing this, is doing that, but then we're also seeing a constant underlying of the cost of living. It's a political year everywhere. Here in Europe, France is going through its elections. England's going through their elections. Netherlands just went through their elections. A lot of shifting and moving, and I'm pretty much noticing the news here and watching the news at home. Very much in the front of everyone's mind is the cost of living. It's fine to say the economy in general is doing well. It is painful on an individual level that the cost of living, regular goods, is a hard to quantify expense that people have in their monthly finances. Traveling and vacations and the things that we rely upon in our industry so much, dining out and so forth, are being scrutinized more so than ever with the valuation of whether or not the prices can actually fit what they want to do. It's not that they don't want to come to our restaurant. We're very successful in our marketing. We've shown them why. They may have enjoyed us before and they want to come back again, but our prices are prohibitive. That translates into hotels as well. Now, for so many years since past the pandemic lockdown, and we had revenge travel, and everyone was out and about, and everyone was just excited about reinstituting travel, seeing the world again, appreciating being able to do it without the restrictions associated with the lockdown. People were willing to overspend, but they were saving money because they weren't doing things during the lockdown, and then they spent that money plus some. Now they're beginning to reel that back a little bit. Unfortunately, we work on a capitalist economy, and everybody that looks to try to generate revenues, you don't want to be the person that tells the owners that on my watch, you're making less money now than last time we talked, that the party's over, revenue profits are not going to be as good as they once were. Now, they can understand the logic of it. They want you to figure a way of fixing it. And marketing agencies, and this came out of conversations I've had with people that went to the conferences last week, and in general, most dialogue that comes out of, it's trying to be realistic without being pessimistic. Addressing the idea that, yes, in fact, our economy is shifting. Yes, in fact, spend the economy is shifting. Economically, people are saying again, the economy is solid, it's on a positive, so forth and so on, but it's a trailing. And we see over and over, people are beginning now to point out to corporate greed that the hey, record profits, that's great. We're over here spending too much money for the products we buy from you, and you're reporting record profits. Why am I wanting to continue to buy products from you? So they're looking for alternatives to things, uh, non-brand, off-brand, what have you. They're looking for alternatives in their travel. Instead of being fiercely loyal on a carrot on a stick rewards program for some brand, they're looking at what is the actual value of going to the destination as to how to economize. We've talked about this over and over as to the process of travel plans. Travel plans really come from an inception of discovery to which the decisions get selected and chosen as to places of interest, points of interest, and so forth. Only they know what they're looking for in the sense of, well, I'm going to take a vacation in summer with family or not family, myself, just my partner, whatever it is. And from that, they begin to look at what choices they might have and what they're interested in doing. From that, they begin to try to see how it fits into the budgeting of their funds, what they have available. And they begin to look at what costs they can change. If they're flying, flight costs are flight costs. That will be taken out of their budget. Uh, Food they can economize down. Maybe they can do some grocery shopping and eat in the room for breakfast or something if you're not offering it at the hotel. So, but they begin to manipulate how they're trying to figure out the costs associated with what they're doing. Obviously, if they're going for entertainment reasons, the cost of what it's going to take to get into the parks, the cost of what it's going to take to do the events or museums, wherever it is, all that has to be that's also unchangeable cost. And they also look at our accommodations. Yes, they would like to stay at a better hotel, maybe your hotel, but our costs are prohibitive. So they have to look at alternatives. Maybe not the most convenient hotel, maybe it's not the hotel that they're accustomed to, but they're looking to make sure that their budget fits appropriately. Through that process, we're still advertising the same. A lot of owners don't want to be told, as I said, that they're going to make less money. They want you to find a way, market to different people, try different segmentations, try different targeting. They don't want you to spend more money to do it. They want you to make more money from what they're willing to let you spend. But the strategy isn't changing. The strategy is to promote why you want to spend the money with us, how good our services are, how nice our hotel is, how perfectly positioned it may be. We're not changing how we're talking to our guests. Instead, we're more about talking to our guests in relationship to what's the best way to afford the cost. From that perspective, you have to worry about whether or not the ability for people to spend the money correctly is under the perception of the value that you're offering. Too many terms and value propositions come from the idea that you're selling to sell the rate or justify the rate. And very few hotels are actually selling for the value that they represent. I look at many times ads and volumes of ads and bios of ads. And what I see a lot of times is it's all about justification and validation, not about terms like affordable, value, transparent. For those not keeping up in tabs with some of the laws and legal changes that are going on, California just finished enacting their junk fees law. And through that process, they have made it mandatory that you have to disclose all of your cost factors that you consider to be built into the prices that you're doing. You see too often rooms that are at a very low rate so that they can be advertised for that. But then when you do to purchase a room, you have all of these additional fees, resort fees, access fees, booking fees, whatever labeling you put to these processes get added into it. Well, now you have to disclose those in all of your advertising. So if you're advertising a price, you have to show how that price is constituted and combined. That creates a different type of marketing strategy because now that transparency has to be exposed to why are we charging this? It used to be free valued money. It was a way of saying, hey, look, it's only $100 for a room or $200 for a room. And then there's the daily fees, the whatever fees. And that irritated a lot of people. But a lot of hotels let that irritation go by for saying, well, you know, That's how we make our money, is these margins of things. It's like restaurants adding mandatory gratuities to pay for the labor costs, because they don't want to advertise that their burger now is twice as much as what they used to be because of the costs of maintaining increased hourly salaries and or the cost of renovations. And then don't forget the fact that they never want to margin less on their revenue. And because of that, we don't market correctly. And we need to change the strategy associated with our marketing for what we have been doing to what we need to be doing now. The shift in marketing strategy has to be pointed more towards why what we have to offer is of value for why you would spend it, not to validate the price, but to fit into the price mode of what people are wanting to look for. Nobody's not unwilling to not spend less money. Nobody's not unwilling to go and spend a lower rate. The real marketing success is to identify the value of what you are saying your rate is to the margin of people that can afford that rate. You'll always get people that will try to spend more than they should because they want the experience that you have to offer. You are above their price range, but they want to experience what you have to sell. In reverse, you have people that do not like the fact that they get to spend less for what they expect from you, but then are exposed to a clientele and or an environment that they feel is below what they feel that they spent for. In other words, people, when expectations go up with ADR, we always know that. So too is the reviews that come from higher ADRs. The expectations go along with higher ADRs because you're paying more money. And if you put yourself in a bad pricing position where the people that can't afford you stay at your hotel because you lowered your price to accommodate occupancy demands that you want, goals that you have, KPIs, you're going to get them doing a lot of negative feedback because it didn't live up to their expectations of what they thought they could have had for the money that they overspent. And for the people that you lowered the price, that could afford the higher rates but are happy that you gave them a lower price, you've irritated them because they feel like the caliber of the product was not what it was expected to be. So you put yourself in a bad combination on either side. You can't appease to anybody. You have to find your proper marketing niche to the price point that you represent, and that is your targeting clientele of who it is that you're looking for. Now, we've talked a lot about persona marketing and value persona marketing, or the lack of persona marketing, and instead about actions and derivatives. This can be done strategically with content well positioned on the website, that through the engagement of the content you put to the website, you can learn what actions are warranted to target towards. If you're putting price sensitive content, value ads like don't pay for this and this can be free, 10 things you can do without having to spend money in our market, 5 things that are enjoyable to do that don't cost an extra dollar, those types of content pieces, the traffic that comes from those. I remember custom audiences and being generated through the actions that you want to reinforce. If people are looking at that type of content, then you can isolate them into a targeting program that would allow you to be able to speak to the idea that these people are looking for value. By the same token, if you create content that is more about the amenities, the services, the idealism of what your property is trying to give to the guest and clientele, then you're going to see a whole different audience that you're targeted to that isn't as rate sensitive. Remember that K formula to the economy. Those people want the experience. They realize they will pay for that experience. They just want to make sure that they're going to get that experience. For those people that don't have the money, that are trying to buy up, then those people are the ones that you don't want to overemphasize all the things that they should be getting compared to what they end up getting. You want them to be emphasizing the fact that it's well worth what they want under the context of being accurate about what it is that they're going to receive. These types of marketing messages and strategies are not strategies that are well received from ownership. Ownership wants you to continue to squeeze the rock. They don't want to spend more money for it, but they want more results from it. They're, I feel very cleanly that conference attendances, conference interest is usually hinged to uncertainties. Let's put it this way: if everybody's making money hand over fist like they had been for the past few years, not a lot of attendance comes to conferences because there's no need. We're doing great. Why do we need to go learn what everybody else is doing, or whether there's new and innovative things and so forth? I'm not saying that's a justification for all the conferences that happened last week. And I felt very positive about the conferences last week, high tech and HSMAIs. You also have the novelty of being with AI. AI is the newest buzzword, and there seems to be more progressive interest in what it can be used for. So you're going to get that inherent curiosity as well. But out of all of this, the reason why owners are willing to sign travel checks to people and send them to the conferences is because they're looking to make sure they're prepared for what's next. And they know from all the information that they receive that what next is questionable. What's next is uncertain. You're getting these dichotomic perspectives of the economy. Everything's going good, but there's a huge resentment for it. It's not good for everybody. It's good for people that already have money. They're still continuing with their process. But the people that are in the middle, the cave, perform at the middle part of it from a volume perspective, are not really benefiting from the economies right now. For that very reason, they have less of an opportunity to um, be marketed to in that sense because they don't have that choice that they would normally have. So, from that reasoning, you need to determine how best to market to the people that can afford you with a clarity of value, if value is necessary for them, or clarity of discrimination for those that are looking for the caliber of what you have to offer. It's so hard when talking about the show because I can be having somebody that owns an amazing or runs and operates an amazing destination resort with thousands and thousands of dollar ADR places, and then I have another person that's on the show and get email from either one of them that talks about they're in the middle of between two locations and they're a roadside hotel. And how do you get people to both places? And you don't talk to the same people the same way. You don't give the same content, and certainly the strategy doesn't match the same way because the strategy for whom you're talking to is commensurate to what it is that they were most interested in knowing about content, relevancy, targeting associated with what they engage with, um, putting them through the flow of communication that allows them to progressively understand more of what they need to know to make a purchase decision, that funnel, that workflow that we've talked about so often. So these are the things that are important in your strategic changes. There are hotels right now that are talking, that are asking questions because of their booking windows have shrunk. Their ADR is challenging to try to keep up to what they thought was going to happen versus the reality of how it's happening. Um, they don't know how to change that because their marketing strategy is we're here, this is our price, this is all the reasons why you want to pay that price. And they're not knowing how to change their means of communication in their marketing, because marketing is communication, to better qualify whom they're talking to better quantify what it is they can sell them, because the price matches what they're willing to spend. The things that you're telling them why to spend the money on match their interests. That ability to listen to who you're marketing to and not just broadcast to everybody is a strategic change that isn't going through the entire industry right now. The industry wants to continue to do what it's been doing these past couple of years, 3 years, um, in the sense of here's our price, let's raise our price. If it reduces the demand to it too much, then we can adjust to see what the right price is to make sure that we don't lose demand. Um, but that's been pushing the ceiling, ADRs, pushing the ceiling, pushing the ceiling. More hotels come back into the pipeline, more inventory availability. It creates justification of rates. Maybe not. Maybe there's a having lower rate because there's more competition. These are all variables that go into the strategies. However, the mode of how it's being talked about to the guest hasn't changed. We're still driving conversion. And what we need to do is now step and spread that out a little bit, where we're just not talking about how to buy something, but identifying what they want, identifying who they are that want it at that rate, or that interest, or that time, or that duration, or what have you. And from that, determine the best way to communicate with them, to know what it is to offer to create that sustainable demand that you look at that goes more than 14 days out, that goes more than just the predicted geography that you get your business from at this time of year or whatever time of year you're marketing directly for, and that you're looking on building future long-term lifetime value relationships and not just single acquisition costs and then not worrying about them after that. That's another marketing strategy that has not taken hold as well as it should have. people are still in the what I call Disney mentality. Here's the price. You don't like it, get out of line. There's somebody behind you that does. A lot of hotels now are beginning to realize there isn't somebody behind them in line. This one person is the person they need to convince to purchase. And they need to understand how to negotiate through that process through communication to either give them what they want at the price they're wanting it, or convince them that the price that you're offering it, of the value of it, is commensurate with what it is that they said that they're interested in wanting to do. It means being selective, not selling to anybody, but to selling to the people that you know that you can build a relationship with. If you sell an overpriced product and they come in and they're disappointed, you've only gotten that one transaction with them. If you have sold them a product that has good value, you now can put them on the path of a lifetime guest, because as they enjoy being with you, the likelihood is you can continue to communicate with them so they continue to want to be with you in the future. That, give you a man a fish that he eats for a day, you can teach a man how to fish and he can, eat forever. That mentality of marketing isn't being exercised right now. It's still just sell the fish. It's not about teaching them how and why they want to continue doing things with you. Listening to them to understand what it is that they want most. Understanding that you may not be the one best to sell them, that what they're asking for, you're not going to be able to give them, and not to just disappoint them by showing up. We know that there's an incredibly high correlation between reviews and ADR integrity. We know there's an incredibly high correlation between single purchase only and durability of business and lifetime value cycles for future forecasting. It doesn't exist. Okay. These things are learned. And because of that, they need to be indoctrinated into your marketing strategies. So I know this is a relatively short show and a little bit on the beaten path back and forth on some conversations. My apologies for the tangent raid. And next week, we'll be back in the office again. We'll get back to some more granular aspects of summertime marketing and some very interesting strategies that have been implemented at other places that I think will be of value to others as well as we go through this marketing shift of strategy and so forth. So our topic today was shifting strategies for a shifting market. Once again, this will be our last call from Paris. Next week, we'll be back in Florida, hot, balmy Florida. Actually, one of the things we talked about as a possible topic next week is to talk about weather vulnerabilities, how to, so to speak, weather the storm with your hotel. Some interesting strategies through markets that have this issue, Florida being one of them, Caribbean right now, as to how do you communicate and what best and effective ways do you handle weather variations or climate warming problems, which a lot of places are having. Beach erosions, no snow in the mountains, things are changing. How do you change what you're selling and how you're selling it if you're in those spaces that the change is happening now? So we'll have that kind of conversation as well. So thank you so much for watching us on the TV channels, the hospitality channel on your TV, if that's where you're watching us. Google TV, Amazon TV, Apple TV, what are we missing? Samsung, LG, Roku, we're all on those channels. Just look for the hospitality channel. It's free for the show. If you're watching us on the simulcast on Facebook pages from our friends at the associations like HSM Young and others, as well as from corporations that love working with us. Thank you for watching us there. Facebook pages for that. YouTube channels, same similarities, companies and so forth and associations. LinkedIn, X, Twitch, even if you use your gaming console for media. So if you have questions about what I'm talking about, if it went off in too many tangents, send me an email, Loren at hospitalitydigitalmarketing.com. I answer each and every email that I get for this and our podcast. We also have our podcast on 39 different platforms. We'll be doing the audio on that shortly after this. And then we also have our radio station. You can do hospitalityradio.com and catch up with a variety of sources, being not just ours when it comes to sales and marketing and meta search and human resources and lots of it. So hope you enjoyed the radio station as well. You can find out where we broadcast from. We're in several places globally, actually. The TV channel is in 209 countries. So we're just about everywhere in lots of ways. So with that, my name is Loren Gray. Thank you for the privilege of your time. and I look forward to talking to you all next week.